Welcome to Real Talks with Pinks. I told you to tell your friends we are back on the channel. The sabbatical is over. So tell your friends to tell your friends that Real Talks with Pinks is back. So we have a guest on the show and I'm quite excited about today's topic. Meg, can you please introduce yourself for our Real Talk viewers?
Thank you for having me, Me. Neo Sekhesa. I am founder and managing director at House of Linford. House of Linford is a distillery in Maseromona.
Okay.
So re tlotla jwala ba sekgo.
Okay. Okay, quite interesting, a distillery. Okay. So I'm gonna get straight into it. I said I'm profiling entrepreneurs in Lesotho, especially women founders. So now our first question would be, when did you come up with this business, House of Linford, and how did you decide? Because we normally think this is obviously we are assuming that this is a male-dominated industry, but can you tell us how House of Linford came about, when it was founded, and the passion and the maybe drive and the inspiration behind it?
Just to say that I did biotechnology school. Okay. So in that, it means there's a lot of food processing and microbiology and all these yeast and virus-orientated studies. Mm-hmm. So after a year and a half, I didn't have a job after I graduated. And then I spoke to a friend of mine who's a partner as well in the firm, that this business. Mm-hmm. And I from a hobby really, because I school.
Wow.
But yes. No one ever wants to buy. So that is how it started.
Okay.
Yes.
So you liked exploring different types of vodka, and then you're like,
I like to explore.
What if?
To explore, not just casuala, but to just a lot of other food as well.
So when was it founded?
2019.
2019?
Yes.
So you started before COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
Right before COVID.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us what it's like to run a distiller in Lesotho, and tell us if you distribute only in Lesotho or you are now in other neighboring countries?
We are not officially in other neighboring countries, but when people travel, because regulation quantity, when people travel, you find that they take for their friends and take for months to come. Mm-hmm. So that's just how we have footprint in neighboring countries. But in terms of Lesotho, we do have partners that we work with. We are in about 32 establishments already, from Botabute all the way until the city center. Mm-hmm. We haven't done the south as yet because to stabilize the partners that we have currently.
Okay. Can you tell us how many people work for your company? I think is it 4 years now? How many people work for your company? And if possible, run us through what goes through, how do you distill, for me to get this bottle of vodka, what are the stages?
Mm-hmm. So we have 3 people that are in production. Mm-hmm. One are they production orientated, and I've got sales, marketing, and logistics, which is 3 other people. Mm-hmm. And then we have promotions people who are temporary, because we only call them when we need them. So in terms of manufacturing, it comes from grains. So it comes in, and we basically take it through the process of taking out the starch, and then we put it into the tanks. Mm-hmm. About 5 days of fermentation. From there, we put it into a distillation pot where we get our alcohol.
You get all this bokorobo in all your stuff here in Lesotho?
Yes, except the bottles which are imported. We get everything here in Lesotho.
Okay, I'll supply you with bottles. I'll make a plan.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that, because we get them from as far as Berlin. Sure. So you can imagine now with the Ukraine-Russia mess, what's going on. So it really takes a bit of a while.
Why can't you get them in Lesotho or neighboring countries? That seems far.
because there aren't any manufacturers,
Oh, okay.
so it becomes a bit challenging. It would be great if someone came up and
yes. Okay, I see.
Yes.
So you started in 2019 and then COVID hit in 2020.
Yes.
We're still in COVID, but obviously now we're a bit functional. So I want to understand, were there any challenges that you came across during the COVID-19? A lot of businesses were shut down, you couldn't operate. I know for a fact that in Lesotho and South Africa, the alcohol business was shut down for a while, even though we don't talk about that on the channel. But tell me some of the challenges that your business has gone through in the past 2 years, especially serving the market here in Lesotho.
Just to start off with COVID, it was challenging, but I think I also want to look at it in a lighter note and say COVID bought us time, because equipment when the next day, so we had to rush and get it declaration done so that it will move. You can imagine now that the uncertainty of it, and we had to have it commissioned and structured. We had to have the consultant coming from South Africa, but nothing could move. So then we decided to, that week when everything was just still, I started to think, what are other people doing? Because I definitely can't be going through this problem alone. What are we going to do? What are other countries doing? And then I found one of the distilleries that I went to go visit when I was in Mandela Washington Fellowship, they had started to manufacture sanitizers. And I thought, okay, this could be an avenue, but now what else is needed in terms of manufacturing sanitizers? So I called them up and found out, how are they going about it? So I then found out, sanitizers are generally different ingredients. So what depends on now where you're functioning and what kind of sanitizer you want to produce. So okay, because all the other ingredients are a bit difficult to find, especially because the are through the border. Ethanol, which is 70% of what is needed in sanitizer. Then I will sell it to other people. They are going to be processing it further to sanitizers.
Oh, that was creative. Oh my God. I'm so impressed. I'm sitting here thinking, oh wow, I didn't have thought of that.
So even though initially it was an avenue, yes, and it kept us functional, it didn't really even pay 3/4 of our expenses. But at least so which wasn't so bad.
Okay, so you didn't have to retrench or anything like that?
No. We had to cut the salaries in half, but retrenchment was a bit tricky.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, that's fine. But in terms of Lesotho, as an entrepreneur, what are some of the things you could say are the challenges in the market? It can be in terms of manufacturing, it could be in marketing the business, it could be any other. What would you say, looking at the landscape in Lesotho in particular for the distillery?
Raw materials. We get, farming is really it's a scarce practice in this country. And sometimes we might think, we are producers and we have enough land to farm. But I also understand where the farmers are coming from. Climate is changing drastically, so they need to stop practicing. For instance, grains hangata di tla lengwa ka May, di kotulwe ka November, December. November, December, so they're having such problems downstream. So we're having that as a problem. Sometimes I find myself having to import my grains from Free State. Enough produce in the country. So that is some of the challenges. And then marketing also. I will say Basotho consumers are very tricky. Goodness. You never really know now what do they need, but they keep us on our toes because we're constantly trying to find out, what does Pink's likes, or what does she drink highly out, why does she drink that drink? Should we want her to drink our drink? But how do we make sure that we speak to her? So it's very tricky because even surveys, Basotho are not really big in, surveys, and they would, so it becomes a bit of a challenge, but I don't want to lie, the support has been really humbling to the few that we get support from. It's been really consistent and very humbling.
No, that is good then. It's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
Coming to that, obviously, I mean, you don't have to answer this, but I'm quite curious to understand. I've never been in business, but who knows, in the future I might go. We look at all the entrepreneurs, it looks glamorous from the outside. And it's different depending on the market you're in, but we're always interested to find out how long it really takes to make profits, really make worthwhile profits, because we understand you have to buy the equipment, you have to pay your salaries, there's so many things that goes into the business, scaling, research, so many things. So how long would you say for you comfortably you feel like the business needs, yours in particular, to make profits, so that we are not looking just from the outside, we're thinking, yo,
wow, that's a very heavy question. I think roughly 5 years.
Oh wow, okay.
Yes. So hint, hint, we're not making a profit.
So business is for profit.
It is for profit, but to actually grow the business, because some businesses start getting profitable when volumes come in. So we're still at a phase where volumes are still not as big as they should. Our competitors produce about 20,000 liters a month. Produce 200 liters. So there's that gap. There's that big gap that we still need to fill before we actually get to a point where it's profitable. Currently, it's really kind of paying its own bills, which is okay. We're not really getting good salaries, and my staff is not really getting good salaries. But the fact that they are motivated by being here, and they feel like here is home, and that I think that's the least that a founder can do in terms of making sure try to make them feel like they are valuable in the spaces that they are working.
So you need to upscale and produce more so that you can make more profits.
Yes.
So what do you need to distribute to other neighboring countries? Have you started exploring that?
Yes, we have. So to a couple of distributors or merchants, and balebare, you need to make as much noise in your own country as possible.
Okay.
So we haven't made enough noise.
You should make enough noise. Real Talk is going to put you on the map.
Thank you.
If you're interested in distributing Linford and Senati, reach out to Menel. I'll link her Facebook and other details in the channel.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are we going to be charged commission for this conversation? Because
no,
okay.
I'm not going to charge you. I'm that nice. I'm profiling business so that Lesotho can start using them more.
Great. Thank you.
Because I think it's quite inspirational that women are doing so many things in this country, and some people don't know about them. So that's quite... I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Any last words to any of our viewers who may be watching, wanting to go into business? May not be the same as yours, but what would you say to some of our viewers who are aspiring entrepreneurs?
It's not an easy journey. It's not an easy journey. First, in the first phases of the business, you need passion, consistency, and all that. And that's true because but eventually, at some point, the passion stops. It stops. It does stop. Also, because the principles, that's when the discipline comes in. Because I feel like I don't need to be here. I don't want to come here. I want to go back to corporate and just forget about this whole thing. But when I walk in here every single day, I see people that are more motivated sometimes more than I am to be here. It keeps me coming back. So those are the things make sure that you cultivate. It's the passion, yes. When it runs out, it's the discipline. It's also the policies that you put in place or consistently. And that's what it really gets. Success is just about discipline.
Oh my God, I like the discipline part. And lastly, I know I'm running out of time. Lastly, it's not just the discipline. I want you to speak to... I'm losing my train of thought. I want you to speak to this issue. A lot of business people obviously give up along the way because of lack of discipline. Because even when they see the profit, they don't upscale. They chow the money. So I want you to speak to that, because there are so many business who were doing well, and then along the way they were derailed because you have to be the HR, you have to be the finance person, you have to be everything in your business, unlike in corporate where you have all those departments. How do you keep sane being all those? That's the last thing I wanted to ask.
Business is like a baby. You are a mother, a father. Ko le haeba ho ntso na le household ile complete in the sense that there's a mom and a father. But for a few months of ha o ntso nyantsha, ngwana na o bona e le wena mme le ntate le ntho e nngwe le e nngwe. So that's basically what business is. Until it gets to a point where it starts to walk and it starts to gain some momentum, you also need to remember as much as ngwana na e le wena mo nyantshitseng, they are a separate person. So hangata as you know, directors or batho ba ka hara business, especially in executive levels, we tend to think businesses are ourselves. They're not extension of ourselves. And we tend to sometimes reja chelete. It needs its own money. It makes its own money. And I always tell people, Linford is fine, it has money. I'm the one that's broke. Okay. So we need to you know, differentiate yourself from the business. Sorry.
Don't know what that is. The distiller.
It's just a UVM.
Differentiate yourself from the business. There's
Yes.
Neo, and then there's the founder of House of Linford.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mel, for sharing, and thank you for coming to the channel. We'll link down any other details that you may have to ask about Mel. Thank you for coming. See you in our next episode. Bye for now.